Hi,
Hi,
Neil.
how you doing, Scott?
I'm doing very
Yeah,
well.
my question was inspired by Orlando and Nergiz. They're chatting about their MAs that they're about to finish, and the fact
Uh-huh.
that you were mentioning the online MA that you're doing there in New York. I was wondering,
hmm
to someone like myself who has the Delta as a trainer, teacher, etc., what has your MA done for you, and would you recommend it to someone like me?
That's an excellent question, and it's one I'm asked a lot because the question was, Orlando, Mr. What value is there in doing an MA, for me personally, what was the value? I think one of the things about this career is that, well, depending where you are, but there's not a lot on offer in terms of professional development. I mean, it depends. You may be with an organization that provides lots of in-service development, etc. But for many teachers, they have to do that. They have to take the initiative themselves. And there are these many teachers, after a certain amount of time, also realize the need that they need to, in a sense, upgrade. And that's why they go and do either a diploma or they do an MA. And again, there's not a lot to choose between a diploma and an MA. MA obviously has more prestige. The diplomas that I've taught on are just as equally as hard as an MA and often more practical. I think perhaps what an MA does add, it's another opportunity that you have that you can strategically choose when you've reached that point where you feel, yes, again, I need an upgrade. And I think for me, the MA, apart from anything else, it gave me a degree of confidence. It put me in touch with other people who had made a commitment to the world of English language teaching, and it sort of raised the stakes in terms of, well, it forced me to read a lot more than I'd even read on the diploma course. The diploma course came and went so rapidly that I had hardly a chance to open a book because I did it intensively. Whereas the MA, which took place in various modules over a period of time, allowed me to read around areas that I was interested in and forced me to read areas that I wasn't so interested in. But it really gave me a kickstart into the literature that's abundant in our field, all the journals, papers, and some of those seminal works that people refer to constantly, but have actually never sat down and read. People like Widdowson and
Hmm.
and so on. And so I would recommend it, but at the right time and when I mean, again, it depends. Uh, you could say, well, now I've done an MA, now do I have to do a PhD? I mean, I'm drawing the line at a PhD. I mean, life's too short, but I've known a great many of my colleagues have gone on from doing MAs to do PhDs, mainly because they wanted to stay in academia. But I would, the other thing about MAs now, of course, is there's a vastly better choice than there used to be when I did mine in the early 90s, and especially in terms of different modes of delivery. So there are online MAs. There are MAs that are blended, so you have some face-to-face, some online. There are, and there's a lot to choose from. So in that sense, it's a kind of buyer's market, and I think it's something that you can shop around. You'll probably find something that will suit your needs and interests, and uh, it, if you need any tips, then certainly come to me, and I'll try and sell you our MA in New York. Thank you, Neil.
Okay,
Good
I'll
luck.
certainly think about it. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Heike, are you asking me
I don't
that
know if that's
question?
I was fascinated by the
Lovely.
question as well with the masters. Can you recommend any master of education or master of what is it? Master of TEFL, master of education, master of business? No, what is it that you recommend, Scott?
Who, me? Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to I mean, I think it's dangerous to make recommendations in a sense, because, I mean, a lot of what I know of MAs, it's all hearsay. I've only ever done one myself, and I've taught on 3 different MA programs, but I would certainly know what I would advise people to look for in their MA, and and that is very much a personal choice. And if you've got a particular interest in young learners, you've got a particular interest in educational management, if you've got a particular interest in English for special purposes, then there are MAs out there that are tailored to those particular interests. So I would make enemies if I started saying here publicly that this MA is a good one and that one is perhaps not so good. And also they change. I mean, they change.
So your own programs are not the best. This is all we want to hear.
My own program is definitely the best. No doubt about it.
That's good. Okay. Do we still have a question from the wiki or Simon's perhaps? But it's gone an hour, I think.
Let's have Orlando's got another question. Orlando, this is a good one. Orlando says, what career path could a teacher trainer follow once you've got an MA? Well, you see, that is a very good question, because nowadays an MA in many contexts is almost like a starting qualification. The world has become so competitive and the field has become so clogged, I suppose, with people who want to upgrade that organizations can be choosy about who they take, and they're tending to take, in some organizations, some contexts, taking only people who've got MAs. And so, as I say, it's kind of like, that's for teaching purposes, as a starting qualification. Teacher training is an interesting, there's very few MAs that offer specific modules on teacher training. There are some. In other words, there are few MAs that equip people for the kinds of skills that are needed as a teacher trainer. They certainly equip them with the knowledge. As a teacher trainer, once you've got an MA, you would be well equipped to teach on diploma programs, obviously, and on master's programs. But teacher training comes in so many different shapes and sizes. An MA is always going to be, I think, a useful background for whether, as I say, teaching diploma courses, doing short courses here, working within a university context or whatever. But I don't think it can do you any harm.
I think it is. You have to have an MA anyway to teach at university. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. I think
yes, you do.
Yeah.
So whoever has an MA, this is the door that is open to you, the university door. It's a wide door. There's lots of opportunities worldwide for that one. Yours does Scotch, sorry. Delta.
What Neil saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our MA in New York is a relatively new one, and I'll just give you a little bit of background. It's part of the New School University in New York, which is a very, if you know of Parsons School of Design, for example, which comprises one of the largest departments of the New School. It's a very kind of professionally, vocationally oriented kind of MA, and so the MA that we're offering is not a very theoretical one. In fact, it's deliberately tailored at practicing teachers who want to improve their own teaching, so there's a teaching concentration, but also people who want to kind of move up the career path and maybe get into educational administration or even to ESL writing, materials writing, or publishing. So that's the kind of bias that it has. I'd say it's a very vocationally oriented MA. It's not a research MA in the kind of tradition that many American MAs are. That's, I think, one of its distinguishing features, and therefore many of the faculty are practicing teachers, teacher trainers, course book writers, people like Jeremy Harmer, for example, or myself. So yes, I recommend it.
And is it that you can actually take your masters at a distance at the new school? Because
yes,
you're teaching at a distance.
You can do it all at a distance, or if you want, you can do some courses face-to-face in the summer, but it's an option.
Mm-hmm.
It's not obligatory that you have to do the face-to-face courses. I mean, I would say it's probably better if you can blend the two, simply because of the variety and the chance to meet people face-to-face.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, enough of me.
Yeah.
I think it's probably time to sign off.
We did want. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very, very much, Scott. It's been wonderful to have you. It's been wonderful to see you smile. It's been wonderful to hear of your real insight on things, and thank you very much for discussing this so openly and so spontaneously.